What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update about what's happening with Israel and Iran. I'm going to break down what's going on with oil prices and the overall market as we have some new technical updates, and also why next week is going to be very big as we have FOMC. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 25 in total. You deposit $5,000 and you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. The offer ends at the end of July, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with this market. So as far as SPY is going, I just want to mention that we're watching to see if this is a flag that's forming. If not a flag, it could be something else, depending on this trend. And right now, there's a big shift in market structure, at least for the time being. So before, SPY was pushing, making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Now, as you guys could tell, we're kind of shifting directions here. I gave you guys a warning about how SPY would be pushing, but watch and see this white trend line. We had to break that to be bullish. And today we came just short of it, only to come back down. So we're doing this. We had a high up here from Wednesday, came down, made a lower high right over here, lower low, lower high, and then could we be making like a lower low right over here? We'll have to see about that. If that ends up being the case, we'll see if we bounce a little bit and then continue to dip. I'll be watching that very carefully, depending on what happens between Israel and Iran. So let's talk about the news. Let's break down some important data that's coming out, and talk about what this means for us moving forward. The first thing is that, with the China deal done, at least so far, this was a nice bullish catalyst. And a lot of this has been priced in already. But keep in mind with the whole rare earth materials deal, this had more to do with minerals and materials and less to do with the overall tariffs. This is also very temporary for now, so this wasn't as impactful. We did see a small pump in the markets, but it wasn't really enough to get us to get back up to all-time highs yet. And then ever since that happened, the market was holding up, but then we got these new tensions rising between Israel and Iran. Now, the tensions were already very high for many months amidst the whole nuclear program and factors like that. Also, keep in mind there's a big history between these countries. So, as a result of the long history and the fact that Iran is investing in their nuclear program and putting a lot of time, energy, effort into it, Iran launched strikes on Israel yesterday during the afternoon. This was after market close. That's why the market saw the gap down. Iran has retaliated. They launched about 150 strikes against Israel, and apparently only about 8 or 9 of them actually landed, from what I'm seeing so far, because Israel has a very nice missile defense system. However, that does not mean that we're done just yet, because what's happening is there's been some talk about how Israel is targeting Iran's nuclear program because it's a threat to them. They want to remove that threat, whereas Iran is trying to retaliate now, and we're seeing millions of people having to be relocated. It's a very tense situation. We're also seeing lots of people losing their lives as a result of this, and Iran has said that they want to continue to invest in their nuclear deal. They don't want to back down yet. President Trump has criticized Iran, saying they missed an opportunity to make a deal, and they have another opportunity. So President Trump is saying he's willing to negotiate with Iran to create peace. That's what he mentioned in his Truth Social page. So we'll see how this goes. But the thing is, Iran says they don't want to back down, and they're continuing to threaten Israel, and Israel's threatening them back. So it's just back and forth threats from both sides. Israel's arguing that the nuclear program is threatening their existence, right? It's threatening them in a lot of different ways. And then Iran is arguing that, once again, they have the right to do it. And also, there's other factors for why they're doing this, which I don't want to go into the full details about, from religion, geopolitics, and the list goes on. So, very sad situation. It's very sad to see this. One of the big factors of this, at least from a global standpoint, is that this is causing oil prices to surge. We're seeing oil prices going up quite a bit, at least so far, because Israel has also mentioned they want to start targeting the oil refineries of Iran. So not only are they going to be targeting the nuclear and military sites, but also their oil, and that's causing a lot of fear and a big increase in crude oil. Keep in mind that crude oil has a high correlation with CPI. So right now we're starting to see it going up a little bit. It might continue to climb. If oil starts to go up and up and up and up, this could cause the next CPI to be a little bit hot for the month of June, right? When it comes out next month, might not be the best of data. So you want to be very careful with this, depending on how much this affects gas prices. I would be prepared, if I were you guys, for higher gas prices now. And please be very careful when you go outside with everything that's going on. Next week is going to be the start of a new trading week. We have Monday, June 16th, being very, very quiet, very minor data. On Tuesday, we have imports and export prices. That could be important, followed by industrial numbers and manufacturing numbers at 9:15 and 10 a.m. So expect volatility on Tuesday at that time. And then Wednesday is going to be the biggest day of the week because we have the FOMC meeting. The Fed is going to most likely keep rates the same. Jerome Powell is going to give a speech. So we'll see what that leads to. Besides that, I think things are going to be very quiet. I think we have Juneteenth next week. So it's possible it's going to be a quiet week. So keep that in mind. I think we have lots of data coming out for Wednesday instead, so it's going to be a shorter week. But then for Friday, don't forget we have some very important, Philly Fed data, so that's going to be important as well. So, what's happening? We have a lot of stuff coming out next week, especially FOMC, and then this is what earnings look like: very quiet earnings, nothing too serious. The market's also at greed, but it's becoming less greedy as time goes on. So what do I think is going to happen going into next week? It depends on the news that happens over the weekend. If there's a lot of fear and lots of bad news, you want to see SPY fill right over here at this 595 area. If that fails us, we're looking for a dump all the way down to 590, all the way back down towards these lows. If we're bullish, however, you want to see SPY basically break past this white trend line, get back above this, and we could be looking for an attempt for 606 all over again. Now, depending on the news, we'll see if we get one more push from here. And if we can't break this white trend line, I do see a risk of us returning to 595 or below, once again, respecting lower highs. The other possibility is that although we're on a downtrend, this could be a flag forming. So we could be forming a flag on SPY like this. Just like this, this could be like a flag. And then even if we do see a small rebound, we could just continue to downtrend like this for the time being before we get some kind of bounce later on. So that's another possibility for SPY. But either way, a small bounce, then a rejection, a continuation lower is what we're expecting for now as the most likely possibility. So I'll go over more details on Sunday about this, but that's what I'm seeing so far. I just want to wait and see what news comes out between Israel and Iran for the next couple of days. On the QQQ, I'm seeing some weakness here, so we could also redraw this just like this. We could kind of redraw it like this. So depending on how you want to look at things, we're still showing some weakness, forming a flag-like pattern. As you can tell, we're making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. If we break through 530, we're looking for a breakout. If we can't get back above 530, we're going to likely continue to fall towards 525. So please be very careful as we continue to fall like this, and we'll see what this leads to moving forward. Will we end up breaking 530 or not? But overall, there's a downtrend. I would like to see us break past 530 to be bullish, but for now, I am anticipating some downside. A move like this until we get some kind of break is what we're anticipating on the QQQ. Until we get that break, same thing with the IWM, right? This could be a flag depending on how well we hold up, but nonetheless, we're still looking kind of weak here. We need to get back above at least 213 to rebound. If we can't do that, we may kind of pop and continue to downtrend towards this level right over here, this like 206 area, followed by 205, which is where the 200 EMA happens to be, before we try to bounce. So keep that in mind. On ES, we're making lower highs, once again showing weakness. Also, what's interesting is that we have a confluence because I was talking about how we had this rising wedge, and then we have a triple bearish divergence leading to some downside. So this is still kind of weak. May continue to downtrend. We're going to see if we get a small rebound here to get back to about almost 6,000. We need to break this white trend line to really bounce and push higher. If we can't do that, we may continue to downtrend for the lower 5900s. And there's a very, very strong possibility of that. Another case I'm looking for is the possibility of a head and shoulders. So like right here, this is like a left shoulder. This is like a head. This is like a right shoulder, and that could lead to more downside just in case. We'll see what happens with the news over the weekend, though, just to be safe. Same thing with NQ, right? We also have this left shoulder, head, head, and then a right shoulder like pattern. If we break above this white trend line, we could turn bullish going for 22,000. If we can't do that, we may continue to downtrend to respect this head and shoulders, so keep that in mind. For Bitcoin, we're looking a little bit weaker as we have a head and shoulders right over here. Once again, we have this left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. Could be looking for 106,000. We'll see if we reject and continue to fall, so keep that in mind. Tesla is trying to rebound. There's an inverse head and shoulders on this, so it could be showing some strength thanks to the Robotaxi event. Tesla might be outperforming the market. It was weak, only to bounce. So at the end of the day, it's now trying to outperform. So Another factor could be because gas prices are going up. This could incentivize people to go buy more EVs and focus more on EVs. But that's just like a theory I'm seeing on the internet. So if we lose 320, we're looking for a dump back down. But as long as we're above 320, we could consolidate and try pushing for 333 again for a small rebound. Kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders. We got to hold above this blue trend line to be bullish. If we lose the blue trend line, we could turn back down towards these lows. But overall, as long as we hold, we could try to bounce. So watch and see how it goes. For Nvda, if Nvidia breaks 142, we're looking for a bounce. And if we don't break that, we're looking for a dip to 140. We might be dipping to 140, so we'll just have to see how it goes. For Apple, we're showing some weakness. We're making lower highs right over here. We have a double top leg structure. I would like to see us get back above 199. If we can't, we're going to be favoring 195. So be very, very careful. For AMD, we also have kind of like a head and shoulders like pattern. This is kind of like a left shoulder. This is like a head, and this is like a right shoulder. Now, unless we get back above 120 to rebound, we're favoring a move back down off this head and shoulders. So keep that in mind. Palantir got a big, PayPal, not Palantir, excuse me, guys. PayPal's looking kind of weak right here. Might be retesting 70.58. If it doesn't hold, we're going to be dipping lower. And speaking of Palantir, let me just say that this is bullish. As long as we don't lose 134, we're going to likely try to retest 140, and we'll see if we hold that or not. With Coinbase, we're in the middle. We hit 233 is our main support. If that fails us, we're very bearish. It might push for 247 though, and we'll see if we reject off that or not. Amazon's in the middle. It tried to bounce only to reject again. I'm watching to see, are we going to turn bullish? Do we get back above like 215 to bounce? Or could this be a head and shoulders, a left shoulder, head, and right shoulder? We might be retesting 210. We'll see if we bounce off that or not. If we don't hold that, I do expect us to dip lower. So the head and shoulders is very possible. Meta is going to retest 678. We're going to see if we bounce off that or not. If not, we could be dumping all the way down to at least 670. Google's going to retest 174, and then I think Microsoft retest 473 before it starts to dip. So there is weakness in tech right now. The VIX needs to lose like 19.5 to turn bearish. There's no sign of us losing that. To be bullish, you need to break past 21.21. I think that there's a good chance we're trying to break past that and start pushing higher. So we'll just have to see where that ends up going. So keep that in mind. For now, we're starting to respect the downtrend. So even if we get a small bounce on Monday, we could continue to fall, but that depends on the news that comes out over the weekend. So I'll be waiting until then just to give you guys more updates. But until then, thank you all so much for listening. Please enjoy the rest of your guys' weekends. I'll be back hopefully tomorrow with another quick update, and then we'll give you guys a very, very nice update for Sunday in a lot more detail. Until then, I thank you for listening. Please enjoy the weekend and peace out.